Job chapter 12 and verse 16. With him is strength and wisdom. The deceived and deceiver are his. Shalom, brothers and sisters. I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father. Yahawashi being the name of the one and only begotten Son, who is the Messiah of Israel, as spoken of aforetime by the prophets, starting at Moses and all the way through the prophets and apostles, that he will be the one that will come in the end of times to deliver his hopeful elect and receive the righteous kingdom that will have no end and that will rule in righteousness. Wanted to go into this particular subject. It's something that is very important to understand in these times, that we are actually currently under what is known as a psychological warfare. And I'm going to go ahead and go piece by piece on this. This might be a 2 or maybe 3-part piece on this video, but this particular one is from the 80s. It's a KGB defector, Yuri Bezmenov, warning to America. Now, this particular guy is a man who is familiar with intelligence. As you know, they have different intelligence agencies. You have the CIA in the U.S., and then you had the KGB during the time of the reign of the Soviet Union, and he was one of their defectors. And one of the things that he understood was that the American people were going to, over time, be pushed into a socialist way of thinking. And what I mean by that is that they're going to go under what it would be similar to a Soviet Union or totalitarian regime that was known to be done under the time of Lenin, the influence of Karl Marx, and of course the reign of Stalin. If you know anything about the Soviet Union, in order for them to make their Soviet Union dreams come to pass, or their totalitarianism come to pass, in which they would basically have complete utter control of your everyday life, is that they had to do what was something called the Red Terror, where they purged out the people that were deemed unfit and that were unwilling to submit to this particular system. Okay, which this particular system they're trying to implement will be implemented globally. But one of the places that they will basically push for that and to make a big example out of is going to be the American people, all right, which is basically the Babylon the Great. And as we know, we call, the inhabitants of this land Babylonians, according to the scriptures, those that are inhabitants of Babylon. And many of these people are in a state of confusion, having no understanding that they're actually being what is termed by him demoralized. And that particular process is practically complete, and which is the reason why they are moving at the pace that they are, with some of the things like the coronavirus going into the rioting and the protesting through controlled opposition groups such as Black Lives Matter. And they're doing a problem reaction solution type situation that they're going to bring a lot of confusion, a lot of harm, a lot of death, a lot of pain, all right, to the masses, to force them into submission into this new world order, which will be part of what is known as not only totalitarianism, but is also known as a technocracy, in which you will be in a big brother surveillance state. And those who are not willing to submit to that, at least according to what they are planning to do a mass extermination or imprisonment of those that are not willing to submit to this system. And as we go into this, you're going to see the ideas and the things behind these actions, and the future, all right, of many of the inhabitants of this land, okay, according to Yuri Bezmenov. So we're going to go ahead and start off with this particular video, and we're going to go piece by piece. We'll probably stop at a particular area, and then we'll eventually, of course, we'll continue on with the rest of it. But it's better for me and probably for y'all, for us to do this kind of piece by piece. So hopefully this will be edifying to you brothers and sisters as we move along with this.
Well, you spoke several times before about ideological subversion. That is a phrase that I'm afraid some Americans don't fully understand. When the Soviets use the phrase ideological subversion, what do they mean by it?
Ideological subversion is the process which is legitimate, overt, and open. You can see it with your own eyes. All you have to do, all American mass media has to do, is to unplug their bananas from their ears, open up their eyes, and they can see it. There is no mystery. There is nothing to do with espionage.
And see, that's the thing. He's letting it be known that this thing known as ideological subversion is something that one can see with their own eyes. But what we do know is that the Most High has blinded, the masses, okay, that they can't see it, especially our people. And the Most High has done that in order to fulfill, his will of basically cutting off a remnant of our, basically the bulk of our people, and leaving behind, of course, a remnant. But he's also doing it to deceive the nations as well, basically by allowing them to fall into these things of this ideological subversion, which he's talking about, okay, which is one of the powers, right, of Satan, who is a great deceiver. And then, of course, as you know, we're under the rulership of Esau Edom, who is, basically hands down, out of all nations, they are the top at deception. Okay, which again, deception is a power that reigns on the earth. It's something that we always say. Deception is a power that reigns on the earth. It is something that no one is deceived, in any other realm but in the earth, because this is a fallen world in which Satan currently has control over. Okay, and he has a group of people in higher principalities, all right, in spiritual wickedness, of course, in high places, in which they are able to exert some of these tools that are able to brainwash the masses into what's to come. So let's go further on and see exactly what he's going to be talking about.
I know that espionage intelligence gathering looks more romantic. It sells more deodorants through the advertising, probably. That's why your Hollywood producers are so crazy about James Bond type of thrillers. But in reality, the main emphasis of the KGB is not in the area of intelligence at all. According to my opinion and opinion of many defectors of my caliber, only about 15% of time, money, and manpower is spent on espionage as such. The other 85% is a slow process, which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is...
So basically what he's saying is that subversion, ideological subversion, is a form of psychological warfare. Okay, because what people don't understand is that, like he says, psychological warfare is actually a very small part of the budget of the global power system. Okay, because much of it is spent in other areas, whether it's bribing, whether it's military expenditures, whether it's other things that are going to deal with the expanding of technology. For example, investments in 5G and other technology that's going to expand their ability to control the population. But the ability to do psychological warfare and its outcome is very important for their control and for the plan of a new world order. Okay, that is a very big aspect of this. And right now, here in Babylon, confusion is at an all-time high. I mean, the levels and layers of deception is so high that if you really weren't keeping up, you're pretty much lost. Because to catch up at this point on the level of deception that's been going on over the last, so many years, especially for a lot of people that are of, certain ages, if you've really been under an influence, if you're in your, if you're under 50, the ideological subversion that has occurred in your life is so high that, you would have to have been breaking away from it. And of course, you're going to need the power of the Most High through his son Yahawashi to break the chains that are wrapped around your brain that prevent you from being able to think. That's going to take away the blinders that are over your eyes, and they're going to take away the plugs that are in your ears, okay? And we're talking about spiritually being able to discern these things. Other than that, you're just going to be in a ball of confusion. So we're going to go ahead and continue on and see exactly what he is saying concerning that.
To change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in 4 basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students in the country of your enemy.
Yeah, so basically the demoralization is a process that takes a generation, meaning that you have to teach a generation a certain amount of things that's going to basically program their mind, especially into adulthood. And this particular thing actually happens in the school system, okay? Because what happens is when you're a kid and your parents, they've already reached a certain stage of demoralization and things that they believe in, that by the time you're 5 or 6 years old, you're going into kindergarten. And then kindergarten starts another process in which one will go through a process of brainwashing, okay? And then, of course, the final stage for many, especially, is going to be the higher education, all right? Which will basically seal that particular thing. And this is one of the reasons why many politicians, many people that are in higher places of office are actually college graduates, because of the fact that they've already been trained, their mind has already been trained and programmed a certain way. So that is what makes it very effective for them to be used as willing tools to put further on the demoralization of the next generation after them. And that's the reason why you've seen certain things that have been pushed over the last 15 to 20 years in this country, very different than what was being pushed and being thought of regularly in the 90s. And that is all by design. That is all by design to push forth towards this demoralization that will lead to the New World Order. And that's part of the reason why, if you look at the generations, right, you have the baby boomer generation, you have Generation X, Generation Y, and then you have Generation Z. So you have Generation Z is known as basically pretty much really the final generation prior to the New World Order. And that's partly the generation that is out there protesting. They're the main people that are out there doing these protests, that are main people screaming for equality, that are main people that want universal basic income. They want a defunding of the police, all these different things that are in place that are controlled by groups like Black Lives Matter and George Soros, which is connected to, Act Blue, which basically promotes leftist, candidates or Democratic candidates. And then you have the right wing, which is basically going back and forth, which is part of the control. And the plan is to push forth for something that is going to be viewed in as a solution after they bring in that chaos, they bring in that solution, and then they bring everything to what is known as a new normal, which under new normal that they're planning to set up is going to be known as the New World Order, or it may be called something else, but that's what it's been known. It's on your dollar bill in Latin, okay? And they've actually made these type of sayings from Henry Kissinger writing books about it to different presidents saying about a new world order. They've actually spoken these things, but a lot of these people, if you show them clips of these things saying by presidents and said by different people in high level politics saying these same things, what are they going to tell you? Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. No, it's not going to happen. Oh, you're lying, blah, 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 blah. This is what the people tell you every day when you show them actual evidence of these things. And he's going to go into why they are not able to understand or believe what we're saying or what we show them.
Exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or...
Yeah, so, and he's right, because what is the 3 generations that he's really referring to? The 3 generations of American students that have gotten the basically Marxist-Leninist ideology, or what would be known as communism or socialism, which really is just nothing more than a way for them to go into a totalitarian regime, like you would have seen, in the early Soviet Union era. You have the generation that really started from the 60s. Okay, so the generation that was raised up in the 60s and the 70s, that was like the first generation that was really brought into that way of thinking. Okay, then you have the next generation, which would be, now mind you, this is in the 80s, but he understands the process in which by this need to occur. The 80s and 90s is a generation that many of the brothers and sisters that are, probably believers or that, are probably watching our videos are in, okay? And then you have like the 2000s and the 2010s. That's the third generation. That's your Generation Z. So with 3 generations in of people that have grown into an evolution of this ideology, you pretty much have it set to play in motion into this, what is known as the New World Order, okay?
Counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism. The result you can see. Most of the people who graduated in the 60s, dropouts or half-baked intellectuals, are now occupying the positions of power in the government, civil service, business, mass media, educational system. You are stuck with them. You cannot get rid of them. They are contaminated. They are programmed to think and react to certain stimuli in a certain pattern. You cannot change their mind, even if you expose them to authentic information, even if you prove that white is white and black is black, you still cannot change the basic perception and the logic of behavior. In other words, these people, the process of demoralization is complete and irreversible. To get rid of society of these people, you need another 20 or 15 years.
So he says with these people that the demoralization process is practically irreversible. There's no way to reverse the signs, all right, of this ideological subversion. You know, basically that once you've gone, you know, this many generations in, you've basically set their mind into a way of thinking. To reverse that is basically practically impossible, and it's already pretty much set, meaning that their conscience is seared, right, with a hot iron. And they cannot remove that particular way of thinking out because this is what they know, this is what they're comfortable with, this is their sense of reality of things.
To educate a new generation of patriotically minded and common sense people who would be acting in favor and in the interests of the United States society.
And yet these people who've been programmed and, as you say, in place and who are favorable to an opening with the Soviet concept, these are the very people who would be marked for extermination in this country?
Most of them, yes. Simply because the psychological shock when they will see in future what the beautiful society of equality and social justice means in practice, obviously they will revolt.
You see? So basically what he's saying is that these same people that are being infused into this ideology of really basically what would be considered communism or socialism, and then like he says, equality and social justice. Okay, you've actually seen those words being used. You have what's called SJWs, social justice warriors, okay? Then you also have equality. These are the people that want to have racial equality in among different people with different types of lifestyles. These are the things that are being pushed that people believe all these generations believe is right. But remember, like we said, when you read the scriptures, and this is the reason why it's important to understand the Bible and understand the word of the Lord, is that the Lord is not about equality. Okay, there is no such thing as social justice in a place of oppression, because you cannot have social justice when one people is being oppressing another people. Okay, and that's the reason why this whole ideology of believing that these things are achievable is actually going to backfire on the people that believe these things, okay, which is many people in this particular, this country, all right, and the way of thinking that they believe that how things are. They have this utopian idea of what they believe social justice looks like and what equality looks like, and like he said, that they're going to be in shock when they realize that what they're really going to potentially have to give up in order to achieve what would be considered equality or social justice. And they're ultimately not going to like it. So we're going to go ahead and continue on.
They will be very unhappy, frustrated people. And the Marxist-Leninist regime does not tolerate these people. They will join the links of dissenters, dissidents.
So dissenters are the ones that would be, in this time, the ones that would stand up against the New World Order and that would not like what this means. Because in order for you to have what they deem to be equality or social justice, you're going to need a surveillance state that's going to have to hold everybody accountable. You're going to need the government to have full control. You're basically asking for a big brother that's going to look over you, that's going to basically bring out any kind of punishments, and that's going to punish those that are against the system that is, quote unquote, supposed to be beneficial for everybody. And what they don't understand is what they're going to have to give up in order to get their illusion, which the things that they'll give up is just going to really make them even more of a slave to the elites, which ultimately, of course, as we know, is going to not work, and it will be overthrown. But this is their end game regime. And the thing about it is they plan on getting rid of a lot of, like he said, the dissidents. Okay. And a dissident is someone that is really marked for death. They're not useful. And this is part of the reason why Esau wants to reduce the population. He wants to do some things to the masses to reduce the population, to bring further control, and to eliminate, again, many of the people that will rise up and stand up against their power structure.
Unlike in present United States, there will be no place for dissent in future Marxist-Leninist America. Here you can get popular like Daniel Ellsberg and filthy rich like Jane Fonda for being dissident, for criticizing your Pentagon. In future, these people will be simply squashed like cockroaches. No.
So basically, like he's saying, right now you got a lot of people, hey, especially the women of our nation, that don't mind going out there talking all kind of trash, reckless. You got a lot of our people that want to talk trash to the government. They want to go up and actually disrespect elected officials. They want to basically go up and say that they want making demands as if these people are really scared of them. I mean, these people that rule the world, they overthrow whole countries. They destroy their whole armies and their mighty men. All right, that's the power that they've been given in this time. So if you think that you picketing and going around with signs and yelling and screaming is going to actually make them change their mind, you're sorely mistaken. And like you said, these people that are able to make a name for themselves, being, rebel rousers, so to speak, and thinking that, hey, because we're in America, it's a free country, I have the right to free speech, they're removing that. I mean, you pretty much, after the Patriot Act, a lot of stuff was already infringed upon, even for normal Edomite Americans. But even now, they're going to take away those rights. You're not going to be able to say whatever you want and get away with it. Because you know why? Like he said, if you are against the time that is coming up, they're going to get rid of you. They're just not going to have you around anymore. They're not going to have no talk to you. They're not going to have they don't even need no trial. They already got things in place that are designed to actually get rid of you altogether in legislation, to lock you up indefinitely without a right to fair trial, without a lawyer, without defense, and to basically summarily execute you, just get rid of you, make you disappear. You're no more. You're not one of the people that want to submit to their order. They're going to destroy you. And that's the plan that they have, okay, that they're coming up with. And a lot of these people that are out here, they're in straight confusion, and they have no idea that this is going on. They have no idea that this is being planned. They have no idea what is to come about all this stuff that they're doing, all this commotion and noise that they're making in these times. So that's part of the reason why, again, like I said before, this is a time of great trouble. This is a time of great tribulation, because the devil knoweth that he has a short time and his time is coming to an end, and he's going to do everything he can. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue on.
Nobody is going to pay them nothing for their beautiful, noble ideas of equality. This they don't understand, and it will be greatest shock for them, of course. The demoralization process in the United States is basically completed already. For the last 25 years. Actually, it's overfulfilled, because demoralization now reaches such areas where previously not even Comrade Andropov and all his experts would even dream of such a tremendous success. Most of it is done by Americans to Americans, thanks to lack of moral standards. As I mentioned before, exposure to true information does not matter anymore. A person who was demoralized is unable to assess true information. The facts tell nothing to him. Even if I shower him with information, with authentic proof, with documents, with pictures, even if I take him by force to the Soviet Union and show him concentration camp, he will refuse to believe it until he is going to receive a kick in his fat bottom. When a military boot crashes then he will understand, but not before that. That's the tragic of the situation of demoralization.
So we'll stop right there. You see, he says that that demoralization, it finishes, these people's mind. They have no belief. You could show them actual facts, actual truth, actual physical proof, video, pictures, and you see it all the time. And for you brothers and sisters that have tried to tell your people about what's really going on, tell them that voting is a lie, showing them evidence of different things, showing them what's really going on out here. You can show them what Black Lives Matter agenda is about. You can show them George Soros is the one who's funding it. You can show them the agenda. You can show them that Antifa. You can show them Boogaloo Boys, whatever, Proud Boys. You can show them agent provocateurs, police officers undercover going and burning an auto zone. It don't matter to these people. These people are through, man. These people are through. They just can't see it. They can't see it. They're demoralized. Physical evidence, video evidence, doesn't matter. So let me go ahead and read this. This is Isaiah chapter 60 and verse 1. Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. Okay, so the gross darkness has covered the earth, but the light of the Lord is going to shine upon, his elect, that they be able to see in the darkest times that we've known on this earth. Okay, so now going on, this is going to be 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, all right, and verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worship, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things? And now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let, until he be taken out of the way. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivingness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believed not in the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. And this is the reason why this is able to happen, because they don't believe in the gospel, right? Especially our people. And so they're able to be thrown into this strong delusion of believing that voting is going to change things, believing in politics, calling for equality, believing that justice will basically happen in Babylon. Here it is 400 years, and you can't look back at the track record to see that this man doesn't care about you. If someone shows you that they don't like you for 400 years, believe them. But the way it is, our people are ready for another, 400 years. Hey, I'll tell you, I've heard somebody say that we may need another 400 to 450 years before things, are better for us, but they're willing to believe that can come in Babylon. This is the type of thinking, all right, that people have, man. It's completely delusional, and people trust in oppression, man, among our people. All right, so let's go ahead and continue on. This is 2 Ezra chapter 15, starting at verse 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. Okay, because when we go out and speak the words of prophecy, all right, our people are actually against us, all right? They speak against us. All right. So what is it that we have to understand? Even this guy is not troubled by the disbelief, and he's not even in the gospel, but he understands the tactics that are on here to cause these people to be deceived, to be in a state of delusion, okay, or a state of demoralization. Now, let's go ahead and work at this word incredulity. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee. Okay, this is very important. So it says here, incredulity, disbelieving frame of mind. Okay, so it's a disbelieving frame of mind that these people are in. Okay, and you're not supposed to let their disbelief trouble thee, their demoralization trouble thee. What I mean by that is that when you go and you speak to them, you show them these things, and they don't believe, don't be troubled by that. Understand that this is the will of the Heavenly Father to throw strong delusion upon them that believe not, because they believe not his gospel. And he allows these Edomites at the very top to devise tools, plots, and schemes against them to cause their minds to go in another direction that is not pleasing unto the Lord, that they will be able to believe in this society or in the goodness of Babylon, okay, which we know is not good, but nothing but evil and wickedness. Okay, so let me go ahead and read it again. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. So hopefully this is edifying, and of course hopefully we'll be able to continue on with another part of this particular lesson. And again, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi. Peace, mercy, and blessings to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom.